Oh no! Greetings! It's me and my squeaky chair. Let me know if you can hear and see. Pretty please. Hi Grace, hi Sam, Val, Heather, Abby, and Victor. Welcome, welcome. I have so many layers on that it's kind of hard to put on the sleeve protectors. Winter in Canada, folks. Alright. All systems online. Good. I'm just gonna finish, preparing everything. So I traced the sketch on Arches paper using my trusty DB Meyer light pad that I really enjoy. I used to work with the old bulky light tables, and I am absolutely in love with the new slim light tablets because that makes a world of difference. So there you have the printed sketch. I'm gonna toss this over there, and this is the drawing. Right. I wish my winter would last 4 days. 3 days. Good grief. Instead of 6 months. Alright, so just a quick thing I'm gonna do before painting this painting. Is I'm gonna make a quick reference sheet for these colors. Hold on. Oh yeah, I should remove the preview thingy, right? There. Alright. So, yeah, it doesn't quite fit in the camera, but it's gonna be a big palette of, of colors that I set up, and I haven't really played with them yet, so yeah. Hey, hi Denise! Is that the PWC palette? No, it's Hyungil. It's a Korean palette, made a bit like the Holbein ones, except that these I think are aluminum with enamel, and they don't seem to have the same kind of issues I've had with my Holbein palettes. I mean the metal palettes, in that the Holbein metal palettes, they often have spots where the enamel has chipped off a bit and there is rust underneath. So it's kind of a bit of a bother to set up, so yeah. But yeah, this is just the cheaper Hyungil palettes, and I'm probably saying that all wrong, so I apologize, but I set it up with colors according to one of my books about flower painting. So technically it's a floral painting palette, but between you and me it's just a bunch of colors. I'm pretty sure I can do what I want with them. I think it's pretty difficult to find a light pad that will work with 300-pound paper because it's really, really, really thick. You're probably better off using carbon paper for that. Hello, Ina! Oh, that's cool, Denise. I mean, I'm all for people doing their own work at the same time. Especially for this bit where I'm gonna just swatch the colors. I'm gonna use the same old trusty cheap Zen Royal and then nickel brush for swatching because that one is indestructible. So yeah. So this is really informal. I just want to have a quick reference sheet for what these colors are. I think I remember, like one of them is like indigo and umber. This is obviously yellow ochre. Oh, I think this is ultramarine blue, blech. And cobalt blue. And the cobalt turquoise. Oh, pretty color. Hello Havoc, my favorite mischief cat. Eve, which palette did you say rusted on you? It was a travel one, right? No, it's exactly like this, but made by Holbein. Well, exactly like this. I mean, similar concept like these. This is one of them, and I tried to. Not the best example, but there was like a bubble here that had a bit of the rusted metal showing through, and I really like these because wow, these are like heavyweight, like they are a whole lot heavier than these, and they feel really awesome, and they are a bit more expensive as such, but I've had a lot of issues with them chipping, and I wish I knew why, because I've contacted my person at Holbein and they didn't reply, so I don't really know. So I just have to find a way to make them work. So I'm slowly fixing my Holbein palettes so that they could eventually have paints in them and, you know, take a bit of water so they won't get all rusty. The problem is that when you have a metal palette that can rust and there's enamel on top, the rust will go like under the enamel, and it will rust under the enamel, so that's the problem. But yeah, I'm gonna see how it works out, because I've seen a lot of people, like Miyazaki has one, and I don't think he has any issues with it, or he would have changed, I guess. But yeah, this is where I stand with, oh, this is definitely a cobalt purple, because it's pretty hard to, well, pretty hard, no, it's a bit harder to reactivate. It's not really hard. This is, well, this palette has a mix of Holbein, and there are 3 colors by Schminke, I think. There is the cobalt turquoise is by Schminke. There is purple magenta and orange. Everything else is by Holbein. And I wanted to use Holbein today because I saw Dan from Penholder Art. He recently reviewed Holbein paints. Ooh, this is opera. Well, I think. Looks like it. Anyway, and he didn't really enjoy them, but that's okay. And I know I really enjoy Holbein paints, so that made me want to pick one. This is the Schminke orange. Yep. Alright. Did I miss anything on the chat? Hello, Kathy! A chat full of mods. Yep, that's okay. I prefer a chat full of mods than a chat full of mean people. Alright, the only problem with doing this is that now my water is all dirty already, so I might quickly go change it. Alright. I'll be right back. You can check out these. Yeah, these pretty colors. I'll be back in a sec. be a sec. I'm back. All right. Good, good, good. All right. I'm not gonna use the Zen brush for the painting. I'm gonna use good grief, everything. All right. These great Ultimo brushes and the Reserva ones I have. Yep. Everything is like a Tetris setup in here, so. Alright, so colors, chart, painting. And I don't have any room for... Okay, can you guys see this? Yeah, I think that's good. You're not going to be able to see the palette and the painting at the same time, but that's what it is. Heather, your name is at the top because I set up some like stream labels, and I set up the latest super chat and the latest subscriber. I am not sure the latest subscriber works. I should check that out though. Shut up, me. Yeah, I don't think that one works, so there you go. It's gone. All right, painting. Yep. So how was everyone's week? I hope you had a decent week in spite of everything that happened. I don't want to get political or anything, but yeah, it wasn't easy this week. So I'm trying to come up with a color to paint kind of a background, and I used cobalt violet, and you can see that it already separates from the yellow ochre on my palette. And I think I'm just gonna have it everywhere. Have some kind of base color. I will check the chat as soon as I'm done trying to do something with this. So I've come to realize that all these paintings on the live streams, they're basically like the test pass on all the illustration for this small project thingy. Like, I can try things and screw things up and make mistakes, and that only means I'm more prepared for, you know, the actual illustration. I'm probably going to repaint all of them and use everything I learned from doing this to help when I repaint them, to avoid repeating mistakes. And the advantage of repainting them all is that they will be a lot more cohesive. Like, you have the first one that is a very pink color palette, and then you have another one that's a different color palette, and the third one is yet another thing, and this one is yet another thing. So by doing this, I can try a lot of colors and palettes and papers and see what works for me or how to do things. So yeah, I'm checking at the chat. Denise says that flat washes and checking chat are her biggest live stream fears. Yep, I agree. I'm thankful that this is a very light wash, so even if it's a bit off in places, that shouldn't show a lot. So yeah, I'm just gonna let this sink in a bit. There was something I wanted to ask, but I forgot about it. I can't drink tea without choking on it. Sorry. About Dan's video, there was a hater in his video. I'm fighting the whole day. I do find they dull down in the 6th set, since most colors are a mix of 2 or 3. A mix of color doesn't necessarily mean they will be dull colors. It's like, if you have a mix that's a few yellow pigments, that's not gonna change anything. But I mean, it's a matter of taste. I really like Holbein. I've got nothing against Holbein. I find them super reliable. I find them super easy to work. I find them vibrant. So I'm not really sure what happened with Dan's video when he talked about these paints, but it might just be a thing of I'm searching for a word. The paints are not compatible with the way he works. But yeah, I mean, a lot of professional artists in Japan, they use these because these are made in Japan and they cost like almost nothing over there. It's like $2 for a tube. I mean, I would have all of the paints, all of the Holbein if I lived in Japan, because it's super affordable and easy to find. A bit like how Daniel Smith is easy to find in the US, you know? So yeah. And I mean, these are good. And you saw me do these swatches and I didn't have to work at them a lot except for the cobalt color, the cobalt purple, but that's, I mean, all the cobalt purples are like that. Whether it's Daniel Smith or anything that's dried up and is cobalt purple, you're gonna have a bit of a workout trying to reactivate it. So yeah. Oh, hi Karia. Welcome to the live stream. Yeah, and Denise saying that for her, Holbein lacks texture, and that's true. They are really not flat, but they are really smooth. And I was speaking with Otokano, and she's a Japanese, and I think she was the one who was mentioning that this aspect of Holbein paints is pretty much in sync with the Japanese culture. where they try to not stand out too much, so they don't have these super granulating paints. And I don't know if you can see, but the cobalt purple is granulating a bit, and same for the ultramarine. They have a relatively very smooth ultramarine if you compare to others, but that's what they want. I mean, it's not a flaw, it's the goal of the paint. They worked to make it like that. So you don't like it? Well, pick any other paints. There's like ultramarine is everywhere and in everything, and it's one of the easiest colors to find. So blah. Checking up. Oh, Lee Art, we are going to Paris in a few weeks and I have to shop some art supplies. What do you watercolor nerds recommend? Grace says, get some Sennelier in France. Yeah, I mean, Sennelier would be cheaper and would be a great souvenir from France, since they are made in France. And yes, Holbein are really good paints for illustrations. And I have a lot of, I showed them to you. I'm sorry, I'm waiting for this to dry up a bit, but yeah, I've showed you the Japanese books, the floral painting Japanese books, and all the artists in there, they use Holbein mostly, with a few. This one has a few Schminke, and I got another one that's got a few Kusakabe colors. So it's really awesome for illustration because, yeah, you're not gonna get a super intense granulation somewhere, and that's not what illustrators look for usually. But it doesn't mean that it's bad paints anyway. It just means that it's for something else. Like, it's your decision as an artist to choose which paints you feel will suit best the project you're painting. Like when I did my Jaguarundi painting, I went to my Daniel Smith paint because I wanted something that was 110% reliable in terms of light fastness, and yeah. Carrier says, buy all the Sennelier paints. Yeah. They're saying there are some strong comments on my review of paints that have Oxgall added and that they shouldn't contain it because the artist should have control. And it's like, well, if you don't like it, yeah, if you don't like it, buy any other brand that doesn't have Oxgall in it. I think the only brand I know of that has Oxgall off the top of my head is Schminke. Holbein doesn't have it. M. Graham and Sennelier have honey but no Oxgall, and Daniel Smith is just gum arabic. Hello, Anna. Alright. This is still pretty wet, but I kind of want to risk it anyway, so let's try this out. This color is oh, I don't remember how they name it. Is it English red? Indian red? It's this opaque PR 101 or 102 color. One thing I've noticed is that I never mix enough color to paint everything I gotta paint with it, so I'm gonna try to keep that in mind. This is Dioxazine Violet, which is one of my favorite colors because it is so intense. So intense. Winsor & Newton has Oxgall too. Yeah, I wasn't sure, but that doesn't surprise me. It's just that Winsor & Newton is Winsor & Newton. It's just, well, hello, I'm Professional Paints. That's about it. Right. So this is the Ultimo size 6 travel brush. It's absolutely awesome. I really, really love it. It's the best because it's a fake squirrel brush, but it's not as soft as the real deal. So I can still manage to keep a bit of control, and I really appreciate that. Since I really struggle with painting within the lines, as you will no doubt find out about soon enough. Oh, Eve, you have created a monster. I love getting palettes. I'm making another today. I'm not sure that's entirely my fault, though. Yeah, and too much mix is always better because you can always reuse it. It's gonna dry in the palette and it's gonna be reusable, or you can mix it with something else. Or if you want to get like a good old brown or a good old neutral, you can just mix together everything that's in the palette, including the leftovers that you've mixed before, and then adjust. So it's never a loss, but trying to mix exactly the same color again, that's tricky. That's a lot more difficult. So, question for the chat, because I can ask questions as well. If you paint with traditional, not traditional, but natural hair brushes like Klinsky, do you notice if they tend to splay sooner than your synthetic? Even while being gentle with them and not washing them too often and taking good care of how they dry and how you just don't leave them in the water and all that. You know, Lee Art is saying, you know, here in Italy it's the National Cat Day today. That's so cool! On a Caturday too. Carrie is suggesting me that I get some coloring books and practice. I have like a weird mental block with coloring books, in that when I try to use them, my brain switch on to total guilt because I could be drawing stuff to paint instead of painting something else. And even if coloring books are perfectly fine and nice, that's Pecco clawing at the door. But yeah, I can't enjoy them because I keep having this in the back of my mind about, well, you could be drawing something to color instead, and then you would be practicing even more. And yeah, that's the super guilty brain. And there's Pecco wants to come in the office room because she's a cat and closed doors are not to be as far as she's concerned. yeah, I remember what I wanted to ask the chat, and it's really not related to anything, but what's your favorite music band? Or style, if you can't pick a band or an artist. Hello, Mickey! Oops, I think I ended up painting something that wasn't supposed to be painted. So I'm just gonna paint the whole thing and deal with it later. Well, Pico, if she was any wiser, she could get in. The door is not closed. She's just a dumb kitty that doesn't know how to use her paws to open stuff. She always tries to use her face, and you can't really pull thing with your face. So yeah, she's a bit clueless like that. All right. The luminaires for... Oh, I think I remember when you went to a show by them, right? Val, Led Zeppelin, and Government Mule? Gov-T Mule? I know Led Zeppelin, because who doesn't? But I've never heard of the other band. Have any of you tried the Caran-d'Ache water brushes? They look interesting on how you fill them, like pulled back. They are not great, actually. First of all, the felt sponge tip is a bit pointless. And though the filling mechanism is kind of fun, I didn't really have any great time using the one I have. And it's binned somewhere. Not binned as in trash can, but it's in a box somewhere and I don't touch it anymore. But that's just my experience. If someone has a better experience or a different experience with these paints, these brushes, please tell us. Alright, that's done. Grace says all-time favorite is Death Cab for Cutie. Yeah. Sam says lo-fi is Fab style. Mickey, Christine and the Queens. Wow. Lee Art, to try us. I'm pretty sure you would be fine. Same for Cavi. John Butler and Michael Franti. I don't know anything. Doop-de-doop-de-doop. Hello, Paolo. Yeah, Scout can like do stuff with her paws and get into spaces and open things, and she's a bit better about it than Peko is. The first cat I ever had was really good with that. He would have no issues going wherever he wanted. But Peko, she's just a bit dumb. Like they like to go into their cage because we leave the cages around, so they are used to them. And they like to sort of hide in them when they're playing because they can strike out from the cage and it's fun for them. But if the door is a bit closed, Pico, she can't get in. She doesn't understand how to hook her paw into the grid and pull. Scout is fine, but yeah, Pico is a bit helpless like that. If she can't do it by bumping her face into it, well, she's not going to be able to do it. Earth, Wind, and Fire. Well, September is the song. No, that's fine, Victor. I mean, at least I know what you're talking about. What I listen to, a bunch of stuff actually, but I really like, is it prog rock or post rock? I think it's post rock, like Mogwai and Tortoise. I can't even remember the band names because I'm being asked, but yeah, I like that. I used to love Radiohead when they were good. I really like Placebo. Mars Volta, they were awesome. Yeah. Denise is saying that she leaves out Cricket's carrier in hopes she'll get used to it, but it's still regarded as the demon vet crate of all the time. Oh no! Oh no. Yeah, the cats here, they like to play in them, so I think we're good on that front. Oh yeah, last week we were discussing switching Twinkles to a different colored cat. I think I'm just gonna make Twinkles a gray cat, just for the sake of being easier to keep on model, like constantly being the same color. If I make her a tortoise shell, I'm afraid I would always do the spots at the wrong place and make many mistakes like that, so yeah. Alright, let's try a grayish color for the cat. So when I work with illustrations, be it a painting or digital, I kind of like to lay down the largest areas first. See, I can paint within the lines, told you. But so that I can sort of see what my color palette looks like, if it works, if it doesn't. If I start with painting the details, that's not really helpful because I can't really see what's going to be the overarching color theme of everything. So when I paint the biggest things first, then I know. But yeah, I still forget to paint. Like, I should have painted the floor before I painted the cat and the library, but I didn't because it's not ingrained yet. Magical spots, they always move. Yeah, that's a good way to go around dealing with the spots on a spotted cat. Unless it's something really cartoony, like they have a big round around one ear or one eye or something that's really easy to remember and do right. Heather is suggesting that the next painting be the cat in front of the mirror changing color. I'm probably gonna have to switch to a smaller brush, just so I stop painting outside of the lines. So I know Heather has a tortoiseshell as well, so perhaps she knows. But if it's a thing that's more common in this type of cat or any cat, but I know that Scout really loves to go super duper fast as she can, and she doesn't break. So we often see her sliding, like it would be almost as if she's sitting upright, but she's just sliding on the floor, and there's only the noise of the claws getting like scared, and she bumps into everything, and she just smashes into things, and she really tries to go super fast, but this is a small apartment, so yeah, so it's always funny because we catch glimpses of her, and we mostly hear the claws on the floor, which is also very funny. Heather is saying that, yep, walls are breaks. Yep. That's the purpose of walls, isn't it? To just stop kitties. Denise is saying that they had a cat that did that growing up and ran smack into a hallway wall. Oh, I love cats. That's probably gonna cauliflower on me. I don't think this was dry enough for me to add a bit to it. Oh well, live and learn. See, what I was saying earlier about the Kolinsky, I don't think that shows super well on the webcam. Yeah, but this is the Reserva, it's Kolinsky, and this is the Ultimo, and I know the Ultimo is wet, but yeah, all my Ultimos are wet anyway. But I can see like hairs that are splaying a bit, and I know it's gonna be fine when I wet it, but I wish I knew why natural hair brushes do that, so I could try to take better care of it maybe, or make sure that doesn't happen. It's annoying. I wish I knew. I'm gonna mix a color for the... I'm not sure if it's the floor or the table, but since this is a cat's house, I'm guessing that could be the floor, and I'm not really sure if it's relevant to anything anyway. Heather is saying, and the whole trying to take off, getting no traction, running in place like you see in cartoons. That is so true. We have tiles on the floor here, and we see that all the time. The trying to get traction, and I keep saying that the day we'll get a place with carpet, it's gonna be the end of the cats, because they're gonna go so fast that they're gonna just smash into things, and yeah. Feel free to ask if you have any questions. I've been thinking a lot lately about a lot of things, actually. I've been doing this channel for I don't know, a year and a half, maybe a bit less than that, but yeah, for more than a year, and I really enjoy it. It's been a lot of fun, but I kind of had a moment recently where I realized that it might never be something that is my main job and income source. Like, as much as I try, and that's not a complaint, that's just a realization I did. But I mean, even if I try to make it better, and even if I get it to the point where it's actually better, I'm not sure it's gonna, be substantial to really make a difference. Like, it still takes months to get $100 check, which is, not exactly awesome. It's better than a kick in the butt, but yeah. So I've been thinking about what I want to do with all of this, and how I can, focus on improving and actually level up my skills to where I can maybe have commissions, or, do illustrations more like the real thing for companies that would be looking for that kind of stuff. I don't know if that makes any sense to anyone, but yeah, it's just been a bit weird, because I was looking at stuff, and I just realized that even the people who have incredible numbers on YouTube, they don't necessarily make it their thing, and the people who can make it their thing, they're not doing the kind of stuff I want to do. Like, this is a generalization, but often they don't really have any kind of content. It's mostly just, like vlogs and memes and challenges and stuff that, while entertaining, is not exactly, I don't see them as being a long-term thing. Perhaps because I'm older and I am more jaded by definition. Like, I've worked in the animation industry, and I did a couple of jobs, and I've seen things. No, but you know what I mean. I'm checking on the chat. Hey, Mark, you made it. Welcome. And you made it right when I'm talking about, like, depressing stuff and YouTube being silly. Oh, Val, I'm so sorry. Val is resonating with my feelings. Oh, gee. Getting paid once since July. Ouch. Carrie is saying that one of her pet peeves is when people say everyone can make it on YouTube. But not true. You need some luck, or just do it as a hobby, or use YouTube to make money elsewhere. Denise is saying that it gets better. The income really jumps when you get more subs viewer, but I totally support commissions too. It's just really difficult to bring it to a substantial level, and it's probably my fault, because I could perhaps do a better job at checking out what kind of content would be not necessarily catered to something specific, but like take what I want to do and make it just a little bit better in terms of what people want to see. And I don't know, I keep wondering if there are things like, is the fact that I struggle a bit with the English factor. Should I eventually consider showing my face, which is something I really don't want to do. So yeah, it's a bit difficult because it's a lot of work, and sometimes it's just it's a bit like you wonder if you're doing the right thing. Like, not that there is one answer, but like, am I doing something that was working a few months ago but that I really should do different now because stuff has changed, and I'm really not helping myself by sticking to this weird formula I adopted some time ago and didn't really evolve with me. And like, people come to my channel for reviews, I think, because that's what I do, and I have a lot of fun doing that because I like comparing things, and it's like researching things and seeing what's different, what's the same, what's new, what works, what doesn't work. But I'm a bit worried that people are going to be judgmental at some point. Like, oh, you have so much stuff. And well, I know, but that's what I do, so meh. Oh, I'm sorry. MP Langer Art is saying, I just popped in time to hear your discouragement, Eve. Geez, it did up. But basically it was a suggestion that the personality really is a good part of it, and that perhaps showing my face would help. Yeah, and I mean, the support is not necessarily a monetary thing. I think having friends online, like all of you guys, is really, really why I keep on doing this. Like, if I hadn't made any friends, I probably might not have... I mean, I would have done the same thing, but I would have kept it to myself and not bother sharing it with people, because, I mean, it's a lot of time to set it up, like the editing and the recording and all that. So I like to share, but if there had been no community to share this stuff with, I don't think I would have done it, because why bother? I mean, it's not helping me to do all this work if there is no friends to like talk silly about paint and be all excited because this brand has X new colors, and what's the difference between this and that, and how can this do that, whatever, you know what I mean. I'm not in any dire situation. It's more wanting to contribute to things and having an impact in a way, like being part of the household and contribute. I think this is a bit like what Grace was saying recently. I'm trying to catch up on chat. It's not always content. People use clickbait because it works. It does. Oh, Mark! I love your face, Eve, even though I've never seen it. Well, there's at least one of you out there. Yeah, it's not easy. Especially for people with self-esteem issues, and especially when it comes to this do I show my face or not thing. No, Mark is right. You do not get into YouTube for the money. You get into YouTube because you love doing it. That's absolutely true. And I really love doing this, but sometimes I still feel self-conscious about what I'm doing, and the fact that I can't even help with the groceries and stuff. So, you know, it's just this, it's difficult. I don't know if my new intros are effective for engagement. I haven't noticed, I've noticed more comments, perhaps thumbs ups, but that's not something that was really drastic. Like I didn't went, whoa, what's all this thumbs up action going on? Yeah, I think Mark is really good at having really interesting titles for his videos. And like I don't think I've seen any of his videos where I went like, I want to know what this is about. It's always like a hook and a nice way to get to it, and I'm like, I really wonder what he has to say about that. Oh, thanks you, Abby. They're saying that they love my reviews, and if you need change up what videos you do or whatever, they'll keep watching your channel because I'm awesome. Thank you so much. My face is on Facebook for those who know where to look, and I think I make a silly face too, so that's a good representation of myself. Like I don't mind going to conventions and showing myself in person there, but it's kind of weird because I don't think I have the self-esteem stamina to possibly have people say mean things about the way I look, and that would just not destroy me because I'm made of sturdier stuff than that, but that would just make it not interesting for me to make videos if the people focus more on what I look like rather than what I have to say, because I want to talk about paints. I don't want to talk about whatever, how pasty I am, you know. Oh yeah, sure Denise, I'm gonna take you up on that. Oh, thank you so much. MP, what's your name? I don't want to call you MP all the time. Yeah, they're saying that after a lifetime in photography, they've just started in watercolor, and that my vids have been helpful to them. Thank you. And as a Canadian, they love my voice. Thank you. They're thinking of doing a YouTube channel to share the learning process and creative journey at their age, which is really awesome. I mean, and people would really be interested in that, I think, because I doubt that you're the only person who decided to get into art, you know, a bit later. A lot of people, they postpone art when they get kids or when they have work that sort of eats up all the time, and that's okay, that's perfectly fine. But that also explains why you get all kinds of ages in the community. Carrie is saying, I got into YouTube to help people and for free shit. Language, Carrie. If we didn't care about the money, we wouldn't run ads. Well, the ads are more, not exactly for the money, but for paying all the paints and the paper, and this content is not free in a way because people, they want to see like, hey, I want a review of this and that, and you're like, well, I have to buy this and that, I don't already have it. So yeah, I mean, I'm all for talking about it, but I might anyway, I'm saying that, but you all know that anyway, whatever money we get from ads is just a fraction of what we've put into all of this. So Mark is saying that he's going to start titling his videos, I bought Holbein and you won't believe what happened next. I'm tempted, just as a joke. That would be a super nice April Fool's joke, to have like this super clickbaity kind of silly thing going on, and And yeah, and have like all the emojis possible on the thumbnail, and and your face doing an emoji face. Oh, this is funny. Oh, thanks, Val. He puts paint on paper. What happens next will shock you. Oh, hello, Patricia. Another one is you won't believe what this artist came up with, the solution that the big paint companies won't believe. It costs a fraction of the price. Blah blah. Oh, I love that stupid stuff. Alright, so as you can see, I'm trying to paint in more details, and what I'm trying to do is, like, I mixed one color, and I'm basically gonna always use this base color and just add a touch of something else in it to keep it cohesive with the other colors I have. I might do that with like 2 colors if I want something like more like I have a very greenish color at the moment, and if I want a more reddish one, I will start a new pool of color. But basically I will be using this base mix for everything, so that it's cohesive for all the little details and stuff that I have going on. I'm a cat mom. Does that count? I really appreciate working from home because it's a lot less stress, and I don't have to deal with people too much. And not that I am absolutely the worst when it comes to dealing with people, but I don't have to commute. I don't have to deal with that, and I mean, it's really nice to work from home. You can do your own thing, and you save up a lot on transit, which is kind of nice. Not only money, but time. And I really enjoy being with my cats. And I've killed the chat with my super serious topic. Let me think of something funnier. Oops. Is it that I didn't wait for it to be dry enough, or am I just that awful at painting in the lines? I think it's a mix of both, actually. And if you hear a buzzing noise, that's the outside door. Someone is having trouble getting into the building. There's one thing that I miss when I'm doing traditional art as opposed to like digital stuff, is that with digital stuff, if you finish a piece and you're like, I'm not super happy with the way the colors all work together. I'm just gonna slap a layer on top of everything and fidget with it a bit, and it's gonna unify the whole picture, and it's gonna have this cohesive, fun feeling to itself. With painting, I'm not so sure I wanna have a big wash over everything, because I'm afraid some colors would bleed out and yeah, so that's a bit tricky. Also, I should have checked references on how to paint this crystal globe before I'm gonna try to wing it. Ha 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 ha. It's gonna look awful, but I will have learned something, which is remember to check your references before you do stuff. Oops. Water droplet, that's not good. If my tea is getting cold. Okay, question for the chat. Let's say you win a budget of $500 for art supplies. What would you get? Oh, okay. Hold on, my chat is not updating at all. Oopsie. Oh, why? Why do you hate me so? Come on. Refresh, YouTube, refresh. Ah, that's better, okay. The last message I was seeing was Mark's. Oh, jeez. I missed a lot of messages, sorry. Catching up, catching up. Thanks you, Malvina. Ever since I've been having a YouTube channel, I've like enabled the ads because it's really not that much to. Oh no! Oh, Mark. Well, thanks for being there, Mark. I'm sure you're gone by now, but thanks you so much for being there, and hopefully we can chat again sometime soon. Oh, why did the chat stop updating? Why? Missed all this fun stuff. Aw, little Mio. Sorry, I'm catching up. Yeah, working late. It's a bit more difficult to work late because I have to follow the routine of Mr. E, and he has a work routine that's pretty standard. So there's like this time in the day when I have to clean up stuff, prepare the food. Then we chill, and I can't really record when he's there since we have to share the office because this is an apartment. This is what happens. Oh, I'm catching up. Good. Hold on. Did it jump? Okay. Okay, the $500 question. For any art supplies, Mickey would like a new rolling palette stand. Oh, the question was with $500, with a budget of $500 in art supplies, what would you get? Chris says that they would freeze at having that much money to buy art supplies that brain cannot compute, and I'm kind of far from the mix, so I should probably try to trying to catch up. Alright, awesome. Yeah, I killed the chat. The chat was like, ugh, I don't want any of this serious stuff. Why is it not all memes and emojis? I'm like, well, you know, not everything is meme and emojis. Yeah, I kind of love seeing that even with $500, most of you would go for more of the things you know and enjoy, which I think is great. I mean, I've seen a couple of Holes video and people, they just get a bit of everything, and that's fine, that's really fine, but I really enjoy when you see people that have a sort of a better feel of what they want, and they can channel that through their purchases, and you feel like everything is gonna add up well to what they are already doing. Oh, Denise, are your palettes really in a laundry hamper? Not that it's not a good space for palettes, but that's a bit unexpected. Memes and emojis, I shall take a bow. Oh, okay. Denise is saying that they're in a mini organizer from Daiso and it looks like a tiny hamper. Yeah, that makes sense. basically have to clean everything up at least once a week. Because, you know, I'm just gonna put this there while it's drying, and then something else happens, and you have to pick up something else and put it elsewhere, and then you need to go get the thing that's in the box underneath the other thing that's at the far end of all the stuff, and you have to take everything out to get to the box, and then what you were looking for is not in there, but you know you've got something else on your table that needs to go in that box, so then you go looking for that other thing that's nowhere to be found anymore, even if you thought it was on the desk, and, well, you catch my drift. Tetris, basically Tetris. Oh no, Heather! Is it still, even if it's not an iPad Pro, is it still doing what you want it to? Oh, wow. Valerie, I just did a Blick order 3 days ago. Airbrush paint for hubby and wood panels. Arches watercolor paper. That's music to my ears. Yep, I agree with you, Carrie is saying that she loves holes, but the one from people who know what they like. Yeah, I agree. Because otherwise it's the same as walking through the store and looking at everything, and it's not like for me what I find enjoyable from holes is seeing what the people I know, what they get to complement what they already have. So let's say someone like Cario does coloring with coloring pencils a lot. When I look at her stuff, I expect to see, as an example, but like a specific paper or specific pencils or other things that will help what she's doing already. Like, I don't expect her to have oils in her holes, because that's just not useful for coloring per se. Sorry. Oh, Grace! To live less than 30 minutes away from Daniel Smith? Is that like a car ride, or is that like walking distance? Oops. Oh, I keep doing this. I think it's because I'm not used to Arches paper. Like, I keep having, I think this looks mostly dry, but then the color next to it just bleeds in anyway. So I think that's just me not being used to actual cotton paper that really soaks in the colors, as opposed to either cheaper cotton paper or cellulose paper. This has been going on for a while, so if some of you have to go, I completely understand. I don't want the mods to feel like they have to stay if they have something else to do. Okay, a 30 minutes car ride, that's fine. If it was 30 minutes walking distance, I would be there every day. Or I would try to work there, actually. Working at Daniel Smith. Oh, to try out colors for free. Oh, question from Patricia. How did I like the Hahnemühle paper I tried? I tried the cold pressed 140 pounds, and I thought it was a bit weird. Like, even if it was wet on dry, I had the feeling that it was harder to make for a clean edge to my lines, but I need to definitely try them more, because I've only painted the one thing, so I don't think that's fair on them to just paint one thing and come to a conclusion. I will be trying it more. I've tried the postcards and I really enjoyed them. They're super textured, but it's really nice actually, and they were really fun to paint. I did a couple of cats with them, and I still have the sketchbook to start, but I'm trying to finish my current sketchbook because I don't really like having many at the same time. It's kind of hard to sort them out after, because you can't go like, this one is from this date to this date, and then the one after that is this and that, and you can compare like how you've improved. If everything is all mashed up together, it's a bit more difficult to do that. I'm super excited to try out the 300 pound they sent me. I still don't really know what I'm gonna do with it, because I don't feel it's really it's easy to transfer illustrations on it because of the thickness, and I don't have any carbon paper, because that's just that's life. I don't have any carbon paper. So yeah, should I do like when I do studies? Should I try more abstract stuff with it? I'm not so sure, but I'm really excited because I've been wanting to try super thick paper for a long time, and the price is a bit prohibitive, and my local store doesn't really have that many options when it comes to paper. They have Arches and Fabriano, and yeah, maybe Canson. Checking up chat. I went to Switzerland, and I was not as interested in watercolors then as I am now. And I remember looking at the Schminke stuff at the art store, because of course I went to the art store, and I kept thinking, this is kind of pricey, I'm not gonna get anything from them. And I kind of regret it now, because not because it was any less pricey, but because I ended up buying some of that stuff anyway, so I could have bought it in a way that it would have had some significance to me, rather than just, being yet another order at Jackson's, which is my only regret from that trip. Not getting more stuff that was meaningful in context of the trip. Oh wow, Patricia, that's really cool. Hanemule has some super nice customer service. I can see why Marty likes them so much, because they are really, really awesome, and it's kind of nice when that happens. It's what happens like half the time. Most companies are really super nice, but yeah, some other companies, not that they're not nice, but they're just very quiet. Like Holbein, I mean, I've had some success reaching them before, but when I asked them what was up with the Holbein paint boxes, they never wrote back. Daniel Smith is impossible to get a reply from. Question. Heath, do you always do a sketch and then cover the back? Oh, no, sorry, not a question. You can always do a sketch and then cover the back of the paper with the pencil on the side. I know, but I don't like how I'll always end up with smudges, and that annoys me a lot. I haven't tried the Winsor Newton aquarelle paper. I think I have a pad yeah, it's been a bit busy with stuff. And that's another thing. We were speaking about YouTube and having a channel before, but whenever you get enough traction, or if you know how to ask, I guess, but you can get like offers, like companies will send you stuff to check out and review, which is really awesome and really generous, but that also means that you have a long list of stuff to work on at some point, and you might not have the freedom of really choosing what you talk about all the time. Like I have a couple of reviews that I really have to work on and that I'm due, and some I have to clock in some hours of work and, you know, like really experiment with what they sent me and give it a try. But I mean, if it's one thing, fine, but when it's like 2 or 3, it gets really like a lot of scheduling and balancing the stuff and trying to find time for everything and doing so in a timely fashion. But most of them are really patient and they're really nice about it, so it's been fine so far. But yeah, it's always another concern to keep in mind that you know, when people say, hey, can you review this or can you review that, you're like, I would love to, but I have like all of these to do first, and then I would have to buy the thing, and yikes, that's a lot of stuff. And yeah, it's basically YouTube, how to show you don't know how to organize yourself at all. I've tried bullet journals, not really working. I've tried like Trello, it's not super conclusive. It's a work in progress. Oh, Denise is saying that they did finally get a reply from Daniel Smith, and she's heard from you viewers that in person they're great. They cited an issue with switching over their website, so maybe they'll be better now. Yeah, over a year of bad online service is questionable indeed. And I would like reach to them and say like, hey, I have this issue with this paint, which doesn't happen often, mind you, because Daniel Smith is pretty reliable, but yeah, I have these issues with this specific paint, and the person would reply like, oh yeah, sure, I'm gonna forward this to our team of scientists and they will check it out and whatever, and then I wouldn't hear back from them like in a month. So I would write back, I was like, hey, did you get any update? And they would be, oh, I'm sorry, I'm gonna like send it again and tell them to check it out, and then it's radio silence again. So yeah, I'm like, well, alright, fine, I'm just gonna keep my stinky paint and deal with it. Oh, Heather, you also have some smelly Daniel Smith paint. I have a garnet that's smelly. Oh, bye, Kathy. Have a great day. Thank you for being there. I should paint more and chat less. But you're a fun bunch. Easily distracted by the fun people. See, I keep doing this thing. I'm like, I'm gonna color this and then I'm gonna color the pot, but I can't have this mindset, because if I try to color the pot right now, it's gonna seep in the other thing I colored. I think I have this mindset from digital work where I try to go like from one side to the other so I won't forget stuff, but that doesn't really work with watercolor, because if I do that, there's gonna just be like this mess of colors. Oh no, Mickey, you lost your voice. It's the cold and flu season. Yeah, this is, there is not that much left to paint in it. If you guys have any suggestion or comments or whatnot, you know you can share them. It's not... I'm old enough and I've worked enough in a tough / silly industry that I can take comments and criticism, I think, well enough. So yeah, if you want to throw something at me, you always can. I'm able to differentiate between personal attacks and criticism as well, which is very different. Carrie is saying that the Turner paint smelled like bleep. Do the Holbein paint smell? Well, these don't. I'm trying to think if I've ever had... I've had M-gram paints that were smelly. I've had some from Daniel Smith as well. Chinese paints are so smelly, it's kind of insane. Rembrandt. I've had Rembrandt 2 paint that was smelly as well. I haven't yet put my nose into the Turner paints. Yes, I can be the paint sniffer, while Jason is the set sniffer. Poor Jason. He's stuck with that now. Oh, Carria is saying that they feel like all the M-gram earth tones smell like blood. They probably smell like iron, which is why you... that would be fitting, since a lot of earth tones are iron oxides. So yeah, that would be why they smell like blood. Yeah, it's kind of a silly but important part of buying paints. It's the smells. Since so many people are susceptible to strong smells or chemical smells, I mean, they don't let you really sniff the tubes when you buy paints, so it can really be a bad surprise. Like you don't expect it, and something has a super strong smell that was unwanted and unexpected. I can really see that happening, and I can understand why people would love to know about this stuff before buying paints. I don't think you could have blood into a color like yellow ochre, just saying. As far as I remember, blood is a very staining red color that you can't really hide behind something else unless it's a darker and stainier color, which is not the case of yellow ochre at all. Just saying, guys, just saying. It's kind of weird because they also have paints that smell like honey, which is fine. Honey has a weird smell, but it's fine on its own. There's a color called Caput Mortem. It was made from mummies once. They would grind mummies, like actual Egyptian mummies, and make paint with that. That's where Caput Mortem is from. Now it's made from like earth pigments and whatever, but it used to be ground mummies. See, paint is awesome. Like, it used to kill you or use dead people. Like lead white and vermilion and all these toxic colors. And then you had the ones made from mummies and dead stuff. And arsenic, I think, or like copper oxides or whatnot. Yay! I mean, can you imagine grinding a mummy to make paint? It makes me laugh so much. Oh yeah, I got some fresh mummies straight from Egypt. Do you want some to grind? Sure, thank you. This is gonna make a lovely painting. Where? Oh yeah, you're right. Mummy bauxite. There, I don't even know what I'm talking about. Caput Mortem. It definitely was made from something unsavory, I'm sure. But yeah, you're right, Heather. That's mummy bauxite, the one made from mummies. It's called mummy bauxite. Well, was it called mummy bauxite then? Because bauxite sounds like a mineral. Was lead white a good color though? Not that much. That's what... I've checked it a bit recently and I don't exactly remember what it was saying about it, but like it was maybe not that light fast, or it would tend to yellow, which is why they switched it with something better. And that's one thing too. Like there is a timeline of the stuff they made up through chemistry. So yeah, so like ultramarine, well, you didn't have ultramarine before someone created the pigment for it, so I think some of these colors, like, they were not necessarily out of choice, but out of there's nothing else to use to make this color, so we're gonna use this super toxic thing, and yeah. Watercolor nerds, yep. Aww. Heather has shared a very cute story about one of her cats. When you hear me going "aw" in the replay, that's because someone shared some cute cat stories, like 90% of the time. Hello, E.T. Manufacturer. The name Caput Mortem is derived from the field of alchemy and means death, I'm not going to be able to say it, death's head. Jeez. As this color was obtained from iron salts which were baked down to their dying embers. Oh, that's what Schminke says about Caput Mortem. Interesting. Oh yeah, another interpretation is that the color reminds of the dried blood on severed heads. Well, any kind of dried blood, I mean. Apparently the original was called Mummy Brown regarding the ground mummy color. I still really find it funny. Like, how did they come about grinding a mummy for the powder and then put that into paint? How... It's a bit like, how did the first person who saw an oyster decided to eat it? Except that this time it's about mummies. So there is a rescue plan in place for Rodgers. Yeah, I think Twinkles is gonna be nice and is gonna let Rodger climb down on their back and slide down the fur and end up safe that way. I mean, Twinkles is a grumpy one, but it's not a heartless one. So it's basically a cat. Like all cats. Good, I think I've covered everything at least once with paint, so that's a good thing. Switch brush. There were watercolors in ancient Egypt, were there? Well, I think they already used indigo back then, didn't they? Did they? They used to paint their statues and the I can't say it, but the hieroglyphs. I know there was traces of colors on like Mayan statues and stuff, which is maybe what gave us the Mayan colors, like Mayan blue, Mayan green, Mayan yellow. I think it was color that was precipitated onto clay, and they would make a paint with that. Don't quote me on this though. You guys have many good options to rescue Rodgers. Which is great, because he's really stuck there at the moment. But then again, it's his fault for being clumsy. Also, I am not sure how he was supposed to take anything down by himself, which is perhaps on Twinkles' lack of foresight or something. He used lapis, ochre and garnet, the pigments from groundstone. I'm super curious about how they grounded up garnet, because it is really hard to grind, which makes it all the more fascinating that they were able to do it. I've tried to make paints with garnet I bought from Kremer, and the only thing I've managed to do was to mess up my mortar when I tried to reduce the grain of the pigment, because it was too coarse. So I tried to grind it finer and it didn't work, and then it only made the it abraded down on my tools. And I sent this pigment to Ame from Everything Eventually Mixes, and she was able to grind the garnet a bit further down, but she said that it did wear down her middle slab and molar a bit, so it's really hard to grind. Maybe they used mummies to grind it. They could have used garnet to grind mummies though. I think that's an option. Alright, so I think this is mostly done as far as this live stream go. I might let this dry and then see about inking it like I do with the other things, like using the brush, the small brush and the darker color to ink. I've traced it with a very thin pencil, but I've noticed while doing so that I don't know why, because it doesn't take me that long, but it really puts a good strain on my wrist singular, because I only can use my right hand to draw, and I really wonder why that is, because it's not like I don't press super hard. Maybe it's because I try to really control the stroke, but I don't really like that it's that painful to do something so simple. So I don't have that issue when I'm inking with the brush. But yeah, this is something that I gotta keep in mind too. Hey, hello Dan. You're a bit late, I'm almost done. Is there any way to buy a small roller to grind like the big guy uses? I really don't know. I think it's possible, because I've seen videos about someone using one for a small production of pigment. But yeah, that was their business, so perhaps that gave them the overhang to make room for that kind of tool. They had like this big tumbler too for I think I've seen that kind of tumbler for other things, but it was specifically made to grind pigment. Like you would fill the basin with was it ceramic like marbles, and that would rotate for hours and grind up the pigment finer. Apparently Spin Doctor has a video that the DS Pramatic isn't actually real gems. I haven't seen it though. I really don't know about that. I have heard nothing else about that, and I don't think he has any evidence of that, because if he had, I do believe that us nerds would have heard about it. We might not be chemists, but I think we're all equally invested into paints and the supplies and the tools and everything, so with the price they ask for most of the Primatech colors, I really think that it's cohesive of them using the real stuff. I may be holding it in a position that aggravates carpal tunnel. Yep, that's really possible. So that's something I really have to look into, because I mean the risk of injury is real and must not be overlooked, because an injured hand will take so much time to heal that it's time you can't work. So I prefer to be careful and preventive than finding myself in a situation where I cannot use my drawing arm. My other arm, my non-dominant hand, is 100% useless. It's my left hand and it's rubbish and I can't use it for anything. So I gotta take care and be careful with this one. I remember when I used to work in animation, that would be a recurring issue, since we would have to work like long hours in the same position on the same tablets or tables, depending, and a lot of people would end up with injuries and problems. And the best way to help take care of that is to exercise. Not necessarily like go to the gym and be crazy about it, but to do a bit of muscle training and exercising of your arm will really make a difference in terms of pain and managing the position. Also, yeah, this is from the perspective of being in a workplace that doesn't have the inclined desire or budget to make everything ergonomic. Anyway. So yeah, they would buy like cheap chairs that were, because they need to buy like 40 chairs at once. So yeah, they don't buy the super pricey comfy stuff. And then the desks, they're not adjustable. So if you're short like me, it puts you in a position where nothing is the proper height. And yeah, you know what I mean. I would take like breaks and go to the bathroom space, because the bathrooms are not like with the offices. Most of the time they're on the same floor but in a different part of the building, and I would just take this time to exercise. Like just rotate your arms, twisting around, do some broader moves. Only on Hef's chat do we talk about mummies, severed heads, and fake gems. It's like Indiana Jones. Oh, I wish. See, a bit more about the gems and the gemstone paints. If you take lapis lazuli from Daniel Smith, it's not super great, but if you look on Kramer, they have some really, really blue lapis lazuli pigment for a decent price. I mean, it's pricey, of course, but it's not like $200 for 10 grams. So yeah, so they have this, but then again, there are colors like their amazonite, which is not the same, their garnet, which is not ground to the same fine grade. So I am not sure how they do it, but I think there's a lot of to be done with the fact that they have access to big machines at Daniel Smith to clean up the pigments and remove all the dust and dirt, and really grind those things super fine. I am not saying that, I don't think Primatech is going to be able to have this range of color forever, because I'm pretty sure that at some point many colors are going to go the Vivianite route, where they will stop being available for us to buy. But yeah. I think the lapis lazuli from Daniel Smith is really flat and gray because they left a lot of the extra stuff. If you look at a block of lapis lazuli stone, it has like gold pyrite in it, it has a whiter pigment, it has a bunch of stuff together, and to get it really blue you have to take away all this extra stuff, which is maybe difficult or even pricier. So yeah, that could be one of the reasons why. I don't think it's worth it, because anyway it's lapis lazuli and it's gonna be just like my favorite color, ultramarine. I'm kidding, by the way. So I have no real appeal to it, but I really wish I could get some azurite. And I'm looking at naturalpigment.com, natural pigments. I know they have a couple of super nice Rublev paints that I'd love to try, but the paints are a bit pricey and the shipping is a bit nasty, so at the moment this is a long-term project, not something I can check. And I mean, it's not like I don't have any other paints. I'm okay. I can survive this. But I really hope one day I can try these paints, especially the azurite, since it's not easy to find anymore. From like Daniel Smith, I don't think they have tubes anymore, and their tubes would separate a lot. Oh, Schminke has a limited edition with lapis lazuli at the moment. It's beautiful. Do you have a link for that? Oh, I want to see. Well, I'm with Denise, but I really like the stone. I have a couple of trinkets and like pendants that are made from lapis lazuli, and it's a super pretty stone, but I don't really mind about the paint because it's like $1 weaker ultramarine, and I don't even enjoy ultramarine to begin with, so not really interested. And my voice is giving up, and this has been like 2 hours, so I think I'm gonna call this done for now. I will try to maybe see if it needs more work, but I will do that on my own time. Yeah, next week there is still one sketch of these two that we did, like the one where we had them prepare the ritual, so that should be next week's painting. Oh no, can't post links there. You can share it on my Facebook page, perhaps? I really want to see this Schminke set with it's called Semi-Precious. I have to see this. I remember seeing their sterling silver tin they had for the Haradam anniversary. And I mean, it's not something I want, it's not something I can afford, but I enjoyed seeing this. Like, I like seeing these things that are like so extravagant and fancy that you're like, I cannot believe this exists, and then I cannot believe someone pays for that. Wow, these are not YouTubers, guys. Sorry. So yeah, thank you for being there. Thank you for sticking around, even if this extended to the 2 hours mark. Just know that you never have to stay for the whole live stream. If you have other stuff to do, by all means, go do your thing. This is just this is not mandatory. This is not obligation. This is just for fun. So yeah. In the spirit of keeping this for fun, if you have something else to do, or if you're tired, if you have a headache, you can take care of that. That's perfectly fine with me. I totally understand. Oh, Grace, you'll be missed, but that's okay. That's okay. It's kind of weekend is when stuff happens, so yeah. Oh, I saw the Schminke tin they had that would like open by itself, like twist open and then twist shut. And what? How do you even use that? It's on their YouTube, so yeah, if you want to check it out, try to find the Schminke YouTube page. And they have this like cylindrical setup that just is, I don't know, is motorized and just turns open and turns shut, and you have like 12 colors in it. That's really, I don't know what they're about, but they're fun. Alright, so yes, thank you everyone. Have a great weekend. Take care of yourselves. Go give pets to your cats or dogs if you have them, or bunnies or anything. And like I say, if you don't have a pet, you can borrow one. You know what I mean? So next week we're gonna have more of these two, and I really hope that you have a great time. And thank you again. Bye bye.